All right, and we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the second part of the show, we are going to talk about Tom Brady and his recent comments on the development of young quarterbacks. Now, I believe I have done, I covered a similar topic to this with Brady because I think I did one on him just talking about like the NFL as a whole and how it's not the same as it used to be because of all the rule changes and things like that. So this is what he had to say on the development of rookie quarterbacks. So he said, I think it's just a tragedy that we're forcing these rookies to play early. But the reality is the only reason why we are is because we've dumbed the game down, which has allowed them to play. He also said it used to be thought of at a higher level. We used to spend hours and hours in the off season, in training camp, trying to be a little bit better the next year. But I think what happens is it discourages the coaches from going to deep levels because they realize the players don't have the opportunity to go to a deep level. So they're just going to teach them where they're at. And he also said 5 years at Michigan, I got to learn how to drop. I got to learn how to drop back pass, to read defenses, to read coverages, to be coached, to deal with winning games, to deal with playing in Columbus, Ohio, in front of 110,000 people. I had to learn from being seventh quarterback on the depth chart to moving up to third to ultimately being a starter. I had to learn all those things in college. That was development. And I think that was that was the last thing he said in this article here. But also, I'm kind of battling a little. I don't even know what it is, cold or something. My little congested, so just bear with me if I sound like I'm like gonna cry or something, because that's the way it's coming off of right now. But yeah, just wanted to bring that to light if I sound a little weird today. But yeah, look, I don't disagree with what he says. Now, I I don't know how to. I get what he's saying, but I feel like a lot of these quarterbacks, I mean, from day one they can start. If the quarterback looks ready, he's probably going to he's going to end up getting the starting job, and you see that with a bunch of the rookie quarterbacks now. Caleb Williams is going to start. Um, Jane Daniels, Bo Nix looks like he's going to be the starter. Um, Drake May, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, Michael Penix. Michael Penix is not going to start right away, and kind of weird how they're handling him in the preseason because he didn't play in this past preseason game. Now he's not playing in the finale, and on top of that, Kirk Cousins hasn't played in the preseason. So your top two quarterbacks are really not playing in the preseason. Now Michael Penix is going to be the backup quarterback, and he's not contributing. I don't know, but they have their reasoning. They don't want to see him get hurt, and he would be starting with the twos. So, but back with what Brady was saying. Um, I mean, I get it because also when I was reading this, I thought to myself, well, if you look at Patrick Mahomes, I mean Patrick Mahomes had a comment about learning defenses when he was coming off of a MVP year, and he doesn't even know how to read coverages. And this was his first couple years in the league, and you saw what he could do his first year, and you're like as the full time starter, and you're like, wow, this guy's unbelievable. But he doesn't even know how to read defense yet. It's a different world, And Tom Brady is used to just like I said in the last segment. He always had a chip on his shoulder. He always wanted to prove someone wrong. He always wanted to prove himself. And not to not to say that the guys in the league don't want to do that now, but he had that different mentality. And that's why he was so successful for so long. And I don't know. I mean, I think for the most part, like if teams know their guy isn't ready to start from day one, then they're not going to start him. I mean, a lot of times teams will bring in a veteran backup, a veteran to be the backup, and maybe they'll start like Marcus Mariota, who's on the Commanders now. I mean, he's kind of bounced around a little bit. He was with when he was with the Falcons. They had Desmond Ridder. Oh, obviously Desmond Ridder didn't turn out the way the Falcons were hoping for. That's why he's no longer there. But you had Marcus Mariota start, and then eventually Desmond Ridder took over. I mean, I'm trying to think of other situations as well where they didn't start right away, the rookie quarterbacks, but they came into the game eventually. I mean, because I know you have guys that sit for a while, like sit for a year, like Mahomes sat for a year, and then he came in. Um, yeah, we'll see what the Patriots end up doing. Will Drake May start right away? Because I mean, he has played really well, but in the preseason he has looked good. But are they still going to opt to go with the veteran in Jacoby Brissett? That's still that's still up in the air. But Bo Nix is going to start. Well, I shouldn't say that, but it seems like they're leaning towards it. Caleb Williams, Jane Daniels, they're going to start. But what's the best way to develop a young quarterback? I mean, it depends on what the situation is. Because a lot of times you're going to draft a young quarterback to start day one. I mean, because they're your franchise guy. But then there's other times like, you'll have them sit for a little bit. Like, look at the Packers with Jordan Love. I mean, they eventually wanted him to take over, and he did. But sat behind Aaron Rodgers. Now, helped because Aaron Rodgers, won back-to-back MVPs and showed he's still got some good years left in him. And that, prevented Jordan Love from taking the field earlier. Because I do think that the Packers thought, yeah, Rodgers is, trending down. Now, after the two MVP seasons, he had one more season in Green Bay, and that was it. Then they went their separate ways. He goes to the Jets, and Jordan Love takes over. And, Jordan Love, it was a roller coaster of a season last year. But he eventually got it right. But that's a guy that's been in the league since, 2020. So, I understand what Brady's saying. It's a lot different than what it was 20 years ago. But that's just how it is now. And yeah, I mean, we'll see what these young quarterbacks end up looking like this year, because this has the potential to be a really good quarterback class. This one right here. Now, all of them are not going to start. I mean, obviously, J.J. McCarthy, unfortunately, he's going to be out. We'll see if Michael Penix gets any kind of playing time this year. It wouldn't really shock me. But we'll have to wait and see. So, but let me know what you guys think, though, what Brady had to say on the young quarterbacks here, and the developmental process. So, before we go to break, just want to remind you guys again to tip or donate, get your comments recognized. Make sure to hit the $ icon in the chat. It'll be a super chat, so I will acknowledge it during the live broadcast, and it's just a great way to make the show more interactive between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. And the alternative way is also going to the link GSMCPodcast.net. But the super chat is easier because it doesn't, take you away from the video. You just stay with the video. And like I've been saying, we appreciate your guys' viewership each and every day. So make sure to continue that. We really appreciate it. So when we come back from our next break, we will talk about Arthur Smith and his comments on the Steelers' offense, because the Steelers' offense has been struggling this preseason. So we'll get into that and just kind of talk about what he had to say. So make sure to stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.